Hello, this is Jem83, and it's episode 15 of the My Team Lotus career mode, and we're here at Italy for the Monza circuit, the Italian Grand Prix, and straight into practice. It's going to be quite a difficult race, probably, because our straight on speed isn't the best. It's definitely not the worst on the grid, but it's going to be difficult because this track is pretty much just a drag race. So yeah, but purple score in track acclimatization, and luckily for us, because it's got so many long straights, the practice program should be pretty easy because you gain so much time on the straights, especially with the low wings. I was running 2.4 for this race, and actually before the weekend even started, I was told by Jeff that it's going to be a wet race. So heavy wet, down to winters, down to dry. It's pretty much the same as what we saw at Silverstone. So that'll be interesting to see. And the wet pace in Silverstone was actually not terrible, so it could give us a chance if we're struggling for pace. But we'll have to wait and see for qualifying. But it's all dry through the practice sessions, so it should be quite easy to get all the points available, including actually the quali pace, which I've been struggling to do quite recently, but only just scraping it, but managing to get 30 points on that, which is very nice. And actually that put you first in practice one, which is it's quite surprising to see. And then through the race strategy, it's very simple with 2 tenths up on the delta as well, so easy 50 points there as usual. And yeah, straight into qualifying then for the Italian Grand Prix. Actually, no, straight into upgrading the car. So we're going to put another chassis upgrade on, a major one, which will massively boost the car. I think we're something like 6th in the pecking order, although quali pace still isn't there. And once those chassis upgrades get on, we'll be so high up on the chassis, it'll be unbelievable. So yes, now into qualifying for Q1, a fully dry session. My aim, obviously, is to try and get out of Q1, but straight away my first lap through the first chicane, try and get a nice exit here. But as I was saying in Spa, this car is very difficult to drive on traction. You can see that once again there, losing the back end a little bit on the grass, but getting away with it there. We maybe lost a 10th or 2, but going around Parabolica now to finish the first lap, and it's going to leave me, I didn't use as much track as I could have done there, but going up to the line now is going to put me in 11th place at the minute, but only ahead of Latifi, because a few drivers haven't set times yet with a 19.7, which obviously isn't great because we want to be ahead of more than just Latifi and Russell. But at the end of the session, that's where we find ourselves, and down towards turn 1, braking just between the 150 and the 100 meter board, down into second gear, hard on the brakes, and gaining a bit of time there, and then keeping it in second. Don't want to lose the back end too much, try and get a nice cleaner exit this time, and that's exactly what we've done, maybe using a bit more short shifting, and now through the Curva Grande, I think this is, and down towards the I can't remember the Italian names, but it's turn 4 anyway, the chicane, and braking just below the 100 meter board, down into third gear, trying to get over those curves. Not very well though, and we've lost a bit of time there, but we've gained compared to our previous lap, but it wasn't perfect still. And actually Russell's got ahead of me now, so we really do need to improve. We probably get off the back row of the grid and coming through Lesmo 2 now, braking just at the 50 meter board, 5th gear, trying to take a lot of speed through exit as we come down to the second DRS straight down towards Ascari, and we're half a second up now, but I don't think it's going to be enough to get out of Q1, but it might be enough to raise us a bit closer to my teammate De Vries, who's doing a very good job. We're only 10th and a half off him actually, and through Ascari now, very committed, trying to keep it on the track as much as possible over that high exit curb, and losing a bit of time on the exit compared to our previous lap, but it's still 4 tenths up, so it's still going to be a big improvement. And now coming towards Parabolica, braking just after the green artificial grass ends on the left, and down to 5th gear, not using as much of the track as I could be, and a little bit of a slide, massive slide actually on the exit, trying to keep the back end in check, and that's going to lose me a bit of time on the exit, but with 2 tenths improvements, and it's going to be only 20th place, which is pretty disappointing, because earlier in the season I was getting out Q1 reasonably often, and now basically since improving the car, we're like 6th in the pecking order or 7th in the pecking order, and we're just struggling to get out Q1 all the time. And we're half a second off my teammate De Vries again, so he's 3 up on me in quali, which is not good at all. But as I was saying, it is wet for the race, so there's all to play for still, and we're going to underfuel the car quite a lot, starting on inters, even though it's heavy wet conditions, but the team thinks it's the best strategy. But coming onto the grid now, 5 red lights for the Italian Grand Prix, and it's lights out, and away we go. We've got to try and get a decent start in these wet conditions, very challenging with the spray and everything, but we've got a decent start compared to Grosjean, and straight away try and get onto the back of De Vries, my teammate, down towards turn 1. It's going to be absolute melee. We just got to try and avoid getting damage, and now braking very late, sending it on both houses, almost hitting, we do hit my teammate there, De Vries actually, and now through the first corner it's just going so slowly. It's just, yeah, an absolute car park really. I'm running outside of turn 2 and running outside Magnussen, trying to keep it nice and calm on the exit, not getting any loss of traction, but not also getting a very good exit, unfortunately. And Gasly is just ahead of me, but Magnussen has got a good chance. He's very close to my back end here, especially with slides like that, almost losing it through Curva Grande and down towards the turn 4 chicane, sending it on Gasly, almost hitting my teammate De Vries again, and we do actually brush his rear tyre and losing the back end on the exit at turn 5 massively down towards Lesmo 1. And braking just after 50 meter board, obviously lower speed. It's just learning the grid. I don't use formation laps. This is the first time I've driven in these conditions at all, and yeah, it's very difficult to do. And through Parabolica now to end lap 1, We've got a chance maybe on De Vries with the, he might be saving ERS, we've still got a lot of ERS to use, and into overtake mode and standard, maybe even rich on a straight, and in the situation with De Vries, going to go down the inside. Actually, he's going defensive, so we're going to switch to the outside, down towards turn 1. And braking nice and late, but he's going to absolutely send one. De Vries going up the inside of 3 cars. I followed him through the 2 of them. Kvyat and Albon I've gone past, but he's now challenging Stroll. And we're going to have a bit of wheel-to-wheel banging with Albon, who had a very bad qualifying, I think. But loose in the back end, we're kind of turning right all through the left-hand corner there. That's not ideal, but Albon's got a very good exit, and we're going to be side-by-side with him through Cover Grande. And as I was saying, it's actually heavy wet conditions at the minute, but the team said we should start on inters, so that's what I did, to try and save a pit stop, braking very late there, locking up both tyres actually, trying to keep it on the track. We've just about done that, but Albon's going to have a good chance on the switchback move, but no, he doesn't do it. And down towards Lesmo 1, we are completely ahead. I'm actually going to change the brake bars as well to try and stop this locking up so badly. But Albon's going to have a chance because I've got massively oversteer on the exit at Lesmo 1, and Kvyat's also going around the outside as well. So Albon had a very narrow line there. We managed to stay ahead of Kvyat somehow, but we've got a good exit as well out of Lesmo 2. And overtake mode and Rich Mitts enabled, and we're back down the outside of the Red Bull, who's really struggling in these conditions compared to where his car should be. And then one up later, lap 3, and through the same part of the track again, trying to just keep it nice and clean this time. But I've gone wide once again over those curbs and getting a massive loss of traction. Albon's up the inside. I'm going to try and leave him a bit of space on the inside, but around the outside of Lesmo 2, another loss of traction there. These conditions are just so hard to drive in this car for some reason. I'm not very good in the wet at the best of times, so on the wrong tyres, it's definitely going to be a bit of a struggle. But the team said that the inters were the way to go, so I've listened to him. Actually, Kvyat and Gasly have now both got Albon as well. So Kvyat's going to try on the inside of turn 4, braking nice and late. Not actually locking up the tyre on this occasion very badly, and through to turn 4 and 5 chicane, managing to stay ahead of Kvyat, but a bit of a loss of traction on exit, and through Lesmo 1, the AI are very strong around here compared to me. I've been going wide every single lap, and that's happening once again with a massive slide on through the middle corner, and Kvyat's going to try out the inside of Lesmo 2, and we're going to turn it a bit, but he's actually spun around there. I don't know if that was my fault really, it probably was. But I don't really care, so we're going to carry on. But that's given me a massive gap and caused the VSC, which obviously makes no difference to the race because, yeah, it's still wet, so we want to stay on these inters. But the VSC ending now, and you can see on the gaps in the top left, we're 8 seconds off of De Vries in 5 laps. And because of that spin, we're also 5 seconds ahead of Gasly, so really nothing much going on lap 4 in my race. So let's have a look at the start. And it's a Mercedes lockout once again with the Ferraris at their home race just behind. And you see Albon started about 14th place. I don't really know what happened to him. But straight away I got a decent start actually and tried it on my teammate De Vries, but obviously we know that didn't come off into turn 1. But we did manage to get ahead of both Hasses straight away, which is also a good thing. And you can see the out of concertinaing is such a car park through turn 1 and 2. Just try not to get damaged. Magnussen hopped over those curves on the inside, and we managed to swing around the outside with our lovely livery in the Lotus and up into what was then, I think, 18th place, but now obviously 15th. But lap 8 actually, and Esteban Ocon, my rival, is out of the session, which is very helpful for the team acclaim and the driver acclaim. He's on the left there, which is going to raise me a position and cause a safety car. So yeah, we've had safety cars in pretty much every race this season, or bar one. So yeah, I was asking Jeff what the weather's going to be. 10 minutes of the rain, he says. So we're going to stay on these inters for the restart now. That was a very short safety car, but De Vries is a bit too far ahead of me to challenge us to turn 1. Although if we brake nice and late, we could have a chance. And actually, we do brake nice and late. We're going to switch the offboard. We've gone up the inside of De Vries and the inside of Giovinazzi down towards turn 1. It's sort of a similar thing to what we see at the start with the AI braking extremely early. That's going to give me a chance. Actually, Gasly got past De Vries as well, so pretty poor restart for my teammate. And now on the exit of turn 3, down towards Curva Grande, we've got a very poor exit. And Gasly's going to go sailing down the inside in his AlphaTauri and take that place. And De Vries may be challenging as well, but down towards turn 4, we can brake nice and late here on these cold tyres though, and we're going to send one back on Gasly, taking that position. A bit of a slap in the face move there, but we've managed to make it work up into 13th place and got ahead of Gasly. And we can try and stretch the legs and close on Giovinazzi now, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Although the end of, I think, 2 laps later, lap 14, all of the AI, literally everyone, bar Sebastian Vettel, are in the pits for dries, including my teammate De Vries, because Jeff helpfully decided not to tell me that it was time for dries, and DRS has now been enabled, so I've had to go a lap longer because I just wasn't told that it was time for dry tyres. I probably could have been able to tell from the track, but I just wasn't really paying attention because I thought it was still going to rain for a bit. But yeah, I had to go 1 lap longer, which is a bit of a shame, but still getting nicely slowed down there. And onto the medium tyres for the rest of the race with only 11 laps to go. My tyres are actually pretty poor condition really, but Vettel is going to come out the pits in, I think, 3rd place, which is pretty good for the Ferrari team, with Leclerc going to be in 2nd. I don't really know what happened to Bottas, but he obviously had to queue, but into the pit box for me in a completely clean pit lane. We're going to come out the pits actually in 11th place, it looks like. You can see Norris on the map there, a 3-second pit stop. but Norris is going to come past me for 10th. But actually, that going a lap longer actually helped because all of the second drivers had to queue because all of the AI pit at once. And obviously, I went a lap longer, so didn't have to queue. Or I would have been ahead anyway, but in this circumstance, didn't have to queue up. So that's actually raised me a couple of places, but not like that. That's going to be awful. I accidentally sent Gasly through a board there, but the exit there was absolutely horrific. And unfortunately for Gasly, it's come off pretty bad for him, but I've got away with it. And we're going to carry on because obviously just a little mistake there. I don't think I would have been penalised in real life, so I'll absolutely take it. But a couple hours later, it's completely dried up now. And we have the DRS on Norris. We had a pretty decent pace in the dry, actually. We've still got Alex Albon, who we've been battling all race, it feels like, still right behind me in his Red Bull. Although the straight-on speed of that car obviously isn't great, but Norris just ahead of me is the one we've got to try and attack because, yeah, that's a point right there, and a point we very happily received. In 2004, we're braking so much later and taking a much better line than the AI through there. So there's definitely opportunities there if we can get a good exit out of turn 1 and 2. And now at lap 22, a couple hours later, still in the DRS, but Albon's closer to me than I am to Norris. But into turn 1, we saw how late I could brake last time. How late we're going to brake this time. Extremely late, just pull 100 meter board, second gear. And we're close up on Norris quite a lot there through the braking zone and trying to get a nice exit here. Not the fantastic, we've got a little bit of a slide on, but with the overtake mode and Rich Mix just burning all this ERS, we're definitely close enough to challenge into turn 4. And only 2.5 tenths now. And in the slipstream down towards turn 4, going to brake nice and late. Maybe think about one at the inside. He's going very, very early down his second gear, trying to get a car slow down, and that's a lovely move up into 10th place, and into the points now. And that's absolutely fantastic if we can stay here. But Norris is going to want that back, and a couple laps later, like 24, he's going to try one down the outside of turn 1. We've not got much ERS to play with, but braking nice and late, trying to force him out over the exit curbs there and taking the apex very nicely and keeping that 10th place. Perez is only just up the road, but I think the focus of the rest of this race will really be on defending from Norris and Albon rather than trying to catch Perez. And with coming on to the final lap of the race now to start lap 27, and still we've got Norris and Albon just behind, but I'm in overtake mode straight away off Parabolica. We've seen a couple of times this season that AI like to use all of their overtake on the very last lap, and Norris is going to have very high overspeed here. We're going to have to go defensive in turn 1. We've got no ERS at all down towards the braking zone, braking nice and late once again, and Norris is going to try on the outside, but forcing him wide over those exit curbs once again and taking that place. The track position is mine, and we retain 10th place, and that's going to give me a very good exit because he obviously had a much tighter line. And we're a second clear now, and that was pretty much how it stayed for the rest of the lap. He was not close enough to challenge me into Ascari, and that's coming around the Parabolica now for the final time. It's going to be a point for Lotus, which I'll very happily take from starting 20th, and it's a track that doesn't really suit our car very much. So yeah, very happy with that. Unfortunately, my teammate didn't do quite as well. I think he finished about 15th, 16th in the end. But I'll take a point happily after no points in Belgium, and yeah, back into the top 10. Very happy with that. And Hamilton, Leclerc, and Vettel was top 3. Hamilton's now taking the lead of the championship as well. But yeah, my teammate De Vries started 16th. Only Ocon DNFing my rival, which is very helpful actually. I'm 11th in the championship actually, which is a bit poor, but in this Lotus, not really much I can do. And constructors, we're still on 43 points, but we're 9th by quite a bit. So a little bit frustrating that we're doing quite well, I think, but we're still not ahead of AlphaTauri or Racing Point because they keep getting quite lucky results. But what can you do? We've got to keep fighting and hopefully beat them by the end of the season. But that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more. This has been J183, and I will see you next time.